Yay. So we technically have a quorum. I'm looking for, I think it had sent like a little mini agenda, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So we can quickly take a look at the survey summary. Mike, did you have a chance to read it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, not like I didn't really,
like you
Thoroughly
didn't thoroughly
examine it,
study,
but-
but
yeah.
I did sort the things with percentages. I sorted them high to low except for the other so that we could kind of visually see like what came up at the top. And then the methodology behind this, as explained to me, was we actually ran this through our software without telling the software what the question was. We just asked for analysis of the responses. So, and then things were removed or moved if they actually fell into a different category. So I think we all saw that like on the collections piece, lots of people said something about museum passes. We moved those to the additional services because that's where we had actually put museum passes. So this is the software scanning for phrases, words, and pinpointing like what the top points are. So that's where the context for how it came in. And there was a couple of times when I did note, like, I think I said like what came back out was almost identical to what had been on the question before. So I would note that if that was the case. I can't find an example of that right now. Oh, so like under the general collection, number 8, I said reiteration of question 7 responses. I manually plugged that in because it was almost exactly the same as the question before.
Okay.
So I guess there's a couple of things that come out of this. We can look at the yes, no responses and see how people prioritize different sections in order to think of our focus groups. We can look at the things they prioritize to think about what we might want to discuss, or we can just scrap it and look at those as 2 separate things, the focus groups versus the survey responses.
For focus groups, I reread Pete's email. And I did like Upper Hudson's suggestion to try to talk to the chamber and the school district. But then that goes back to like, how many groups and are those 2 groups? Or is there, maybe one of the groups is like Guilderland stakeholders and they come together. But anyway, but that wouldn't be informed by things that people answer. Those are just 2 big groups in the community that they might want to know.
Yeah.
What they think.
And I didn't put this on the list, but of course Pete sent that after the last time we met, which was that Upper Hudson said, which completely makes sense to me, that they will handle the staff piece. Are we comfortable going ahead and conducting the rest of them, of the focus groups with members of the committee?
I think so.
Okay, okay. Just wanted to make sure. So does it make more sense to discuss focus groups or to discuss these responses? Like, how do we want to? I just threw the things in the agenda.
Let's talk, since we're on focus groups, let's talk about, I think that idea of stakeholders. Because in some of that, it will come out about, like, I think looking at the summary saying there's a disparity, I think, in the youth section.
There is.
And it's like parents didn't, or our age ranges, which I looked back and I couldn't find that quickly about what the demographics, if we had a higher.
Oh, we definitely did. It should be the very end of the
There
long
it is.
report.
And I live in.
So,
So,
yeah, I didn't even include the demographic stuff.
yes, so to me, like having, yes, parents, school parents, somehow the school district if we can get parents.
Yeah.
I agree, because then I thought about it afterwards and I was like, as our like story time families, for example, come and go, the kids are like all riled up, and then if they have to stop at the computer to take the survey, or like they might not even be thinking to grab a paper one. So I'm like, that totally makes sense. So if we if we set a date and a time, advertise, say, we really, really want your feedback, like hopefully they'd be able to come.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's missing. That voice is missing. for me.
I think that.
it is definitely missing.
So that, but that's, is it a problem that it wouldn't be consistent? It's like kind of catering to, would you say those folks are based on like age or their like family status, but then the other groups might be like stakeholders? Is there any?
But we're a school district library, right?
Mhm.
Then they're the people who vote on our budget, right?
No, I'm
Well,
saying like,
like,
is it
my-
like, how do I phrase myself? Is it like then we wouldn't be doing all new groups based on age or all new groups based on one thing? Is it okay to have groups based on the needs we see and they might be kind of random? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it can be. I mean, we can also do the other focus groups like topically or set demographics for those too. Like, this is a time we want, this is a senior specific focus group or this,
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, I'm still fuzzy on like, what's kind of, how are we gonna conduct the focus groups and what are we hoping to get out of them?
Mhm.
And maybe that, I don't know what's the order to do this in, but maybe that would kind of help figure out how, if it would make sense to split them up in some way demographically or whatever, or and how to do that. But I guess I don't have a good sense at this point of what what are the questions we're going to be asking the focus groups? How's it going to be conducted? What's the end result we're hoping the focus groups give us that's going to go into the long range, report or plan eventually.
I would hope to get some clarity on some of the things that came out of the survey and then to get input from groups that either aren't represented, are active library users. I realize seniors are overrepresented, but I still think some of them might want to participate in a focus group. And I mean, potentially GPL folks, we might be getting people that are non-library users too in the chamber. Do you have, what else would you like to get from a focus group?
I don't know, I'm not I mean, the ultimate end result of this whole thing is we're gonna have a long range plan.
Yeah.
It's gonna, give us kind of a, couple, 3-year roadmap of things we want to try and accomplish. And, I think that the discussion was that it's going to be narrowed down to a relatively small number of priorities that we want to, have a concrete plan of attack for over a relatively, short and defined time period, right? Like so we're going to pick some 5 or some number of top priorities and lay out over the next 3 years, here's the steps we want to take to doing those. So my question is, how does everything get us there?
Yes.
So what are we getting out of this that gets us to that end? And I don't know the answer to that question. I'm new to this whole process. I'm trying to, as we go. So that's my question is what are, we're going to get feedback at these of some sort from the people that come to these focus groups. And then how do we eventually, using survey results, using the feedback from that, get us to the point where we can lay out here's what we're going to do. And here's our plan now that we've heard from everybody and taken this in. So I guess that's, my question.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good one. I think my struggle is I sort of was hoping there would be, say, if ultimately our strategic plan has like 5 overarching themes, that we have initiatives under, that we would have a pretty clear sort of 5 that rose to the top from this. And I didn't necessarily get that out of it. I mean, I think there are some clear things that people hear about that popped up, but so.
With that whole group of, young families that come in here missing, it's hard, you can't say like what's important to all of our patrons, but.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to talk to them.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could identify 10 things plus some we know might be, you know, like from here that kind of rose closer to the top and get those focus groups to help us narrow that. Or like identify like the key parts of it that would make good initiatives.
Yeah,
It's helpful, I guess. I was looking up today, I did my questions today. I was like, how do you craft a question for a focus group? And everything kept saying you want the questions to be very open-ended and flexible, and you don't want people to be able to answer yes or no. So whatever we put out there, as people kind of talk through their answers, then that would maybe hopefully tie into themes we see here. And like you said, get a clearer picture of like, by letting them explain themselves, like what they want.
Yeah. I'm gonna send this around to Christina. You probably found some of the same information that I did. Like I specifically searched for like focus groups for public libraries. I'll send this guide around, which is like a little bit older, but it doesn't matter. It's still the same concepts, but it talks, I think this is the one. Of course, I printed it out and I forgot to grab it from my office. Yes, so this does have some questions, you know, I mean, like an open-ended generic question, like what do you think about the library? Like what, you know, so like we can get what first pops into their mind, like that's
Right.
how, so this has some guidelines on, you know, it has some suggestions on here, but you're right, it says kind of the key points says use open-ended questions, be cautious of phrases such as how satisfied or to what extent, don't ask yes or no. Don't ask why. Yeah, Michelle, you probably read the same thing too. Think back questions.
I have one.
Yeah, don't ask
You did
why.
read that?
So they have different types of questions and suggest asking them in different ways. Your opening question, which is done round robin, an introductory question, transition. So there's some suggestions on that.
We looked at the same exact.
I'm sure we probably did.
Paper from Eastern Illinois.
EIU, we did. Okay, perfect. Well, I got to it because I was trying to get to this thing on ALA's website that's no longer there. I got to a bad link and then searched around and yeah.
Website.
You what?
I said the ALA website.
We
It's like
talked and
I've been
then
to-
Christina was like, I'm gonna do this. And I was like, maybe I'll do that. And yes, we
Yeah.
both came up with questions.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so you probably, like, this has some, I think that this is interesting. Think back to all the years that you've been in this library and tell us your fondest memory.
Oh, that's nice.
Because that gives us like, you know, a point.
I like that,
Yeah.
We're just, I mean, I'm just reading off this list, so I didn't come up with that myself, you know, but
The ending, I liked the ending questions where it's like of all the things we've talked about, what is most important to you?
yeah.
At the end, as that wrap up
Mhm.
was one of the things. Your number 4 question I liked too.
Mine.
Yes.
So when I only have 4. Michelle's are really good and they're like a little more specific and tied into this a bit more. Mine, I started out that way and then I started thinking about like the chamber and the school district, like people who didn't necessarily come in and fill this out, but you'd want to know like, how can we be a good partner to you? My number 4 is pie in the sky as a Guilderland resident or somebody that works in Guilderland. What is one thing you need from this community which would make your life better?
Oh,
And so it's not even about
about
us.
the library.
It's like, let them name like whatever, and then does it tie into these things? Is there a thread? Is it something we can do?
I like that, but I like that that's it, you know, is it something we can do? Or partner with someone else to do? Are they like?
Ideally, I think this is gonna like, and those questions are good, but ideally, I think this is just gonna help us sort of like let things rise up, understand better, like. And our survey was very much like, pick these things and then say something about it, whereas this will be more hopefully free flowing. People will actually talk. I know because I don't know, like, again, it's hard to tell when we said like, are youth programs important to you? Less than half of the people said yes. But that doesn't mean that they're not of value to the library. You know, if we were looking at this straight up, it would be general collection, library space, adult programming, and then the two. Then additional, you know, like,
Maybe 20, yeah. If you go from 20 to age 40, that's 55 people. Between ages 20 and 40.
mhm.
Should be a lot of reading.
Less than one story time
Yeah.
with the parents.
Yeah,
I think that was really shocking, looking at this going, seeing that real breakdown of how that
mhm.
was compared to adults.
And we may still have a little bit of struggle because in general, seniors are the people with the most time to fill out a survey or come to a focus group, but
We start with an idea of like how many and then try to, how many groups we're gonna do and then try to fit in what are our most important ones. We didn't do that last time.
I think so. We did talk about some ideas last time, but we had kind of paused because we didn't know if Upper Hudson was gonna be doing this or not. I mean, Mike, do you feel like have a better understanding of what we might want to get out of this, or is it still
Yeah, I-
seeming?
I
Okay.
guess so. I think, I mean, it's. No, I think that makes sense. I guess, it's, in the, at some point, we're gonna have to, take whatever we've gotten and boil that down
Yeah.
or whatever into, and I'm wondering if that's, if to what extent, are these focus groups just kind of more of a, still on the, it's kind of like there's the gathering feedback and information, and then there's this somehow culling it and getting it down to some narrow priorities. And to what extent is the focus groups just kind of more of phase one of just getting this feedback just so we can fully understand what people are looking for? Or is it part of the culling process, or does that kind of wait till after? Like after we get all our feedback from everybody, then we as a committee are going to parse it and pare it down or whatever? Or are we trying to get the people to help us, directly in that process of narrowing down, from all the concerns or,
Yeah.
ideas that have been put forward or whatever, or is it more, we would just want to give it more open-ended, let them say whatever they want to say, and we'll worry later about how we're going to narrow that down. So I guess that's
Yeah.
which is it kind of solely kind of a part one? It's just a lot of broad, open-ended questions that kind of get people to think and reflect and kind of give their opinions and what they're looking for and things like that? Or are we kind of using them as part of the next phase, or is it premature for that? We're just information gathering right now. We worry about I'm just trying to,
Based on these open-ended questions,
Yes.
I would guess that we're still in straight up information.
that's what it's
gathering.
sounding like. So I
Yeah.
wasn't
If
clear
we
on that.
wanted
So
to
that's why.
focus it into the things that have already kind of risen, then we can move into phase two. But I don't know that that's gonna be possible because even though we had great response, it's in very particular areas. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I would say we're still phase one then.
And that's
unfortunately.
fine. That's what, it just wasn't totally clear to me
Yeah,
what the purpose, the wholly of the focus group, and if the purpose is really more still in that just information gathering phase, then that makes sense to me, and I'm good with that. I just wanted to
no, that's, I
clear
mean,
in my own head.
Put it.
Yeah.
It's like, are we still getting more or are we narrowing down?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
think still getting more then.
All right.
I mean-
That's fair, and the open-ended questions make perfect sense for that,
Yeah.
that purpose, so that all makes sense to me.
I would be surprised if people though didn't naturally, like somehow their answers didn't fall into these things we're already thinking about. So I
Yes.
think we'll be okay.
How many times will the word cafe?
I was just gonna say that. There's no way we'll do a focus group.
There's no way that we can get
The
away
word
from
cafe.
it. So
Yeah.
there. But I mean, there are some things in here, I think, that have already kind of risen up and that we're gonna see.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently people just love museum passes. Are they really all checked out all the time? Like, is that pretty common?
There are a good amount on the shelf right now because it's not always like the one you want to go to.
Yeah.
Or some are like,
It's the middle of the week.
middle of the week, or you're like grouping a few of them together because they're all near each other, but they are very popular.
Yeah.
good.
And I mean, there's some distinct things that like kind of rose to the top at that, about the space that are pretty clear. But I don't necessarily think that we should target that, you know, like, in general, people really like the children's library and the Meadow Playroom. So even though that's like kind of up there at the top, they all already like it. Like, I don't know what we're doing
Yeah.
to change it, you know, so like,
Yeah.
it's already absolutely adorable. There's already great stuff happening in there, like.
But if it is helpful, these are the
Yeah.
4 questions I asked.
Yep.
And these are the
Oh my gosh.
more.
Oh, wow.
You guys are the best. Can we get staff members on every committee?
Like my open one for spaces was like, how do you use the spaces in the library? And then just let them be like, well, I come in and then I go to a table, or I come right up and ask for a study room, or I check out my books and then I head out. Like, those are all good things to know.
Funny, you have start with why are often best, and the thing I read was like, don't use
So
why.
I read that too in a different one.
And that's why
I
I
grabbed-
changed
I
some of my
grabbed these
questions,
tips.
because I was like, oh wait, he says don't use why, because I wanted to say why?
I grabbed these tips from the last one I read, but I also read the one you guys read, and I remember reading that why was not great. I think I only put why once or twice, and
Yeah.
then it's like a add
It's just one. That's a good question to maybe use. Why do you find these areas?
But whatever group we're talking to, right, if we ask the space question and like almost every one of them is like, I come and pick up my holds and leave, then it's like, oh, then actually sitting here is maybe not as important, you know.
Yeah.
I find out interesting things, I think, so.
I wonder, so, you know, I guess one question is, we had discussed, are we gonna kind of try and do different focus groups for different demographics? So I don't know, you know, if that's a plan or not, or if that makes sense. But the other question is, are we gonna have kind of standard set of questions that we ask each of the focus groups, or do we target different things for different focus groups? You know, because we could have, you know,
I would like to see some of the same questions asked for each one, and then maybe there are maybe 2 in there that could be specific to that group if that group has a demographic.
yeah, I mean, again, the obvious one would be, you know, is if we do a focus group that's specifically targeted at parents, and we want
Yeah.
the parents to get parent input, then, you know, having questions that are specifically about both, you know, the children's area and the teen space, and, you know, the, you know, children's programming, and where, you know, that, you know, like, it, you know, makes sense to kind of focus on that. But I wondered if we had any general focus groups that are not kind of demographically targeted. If we had, you know, I don't know how many we're gonna do altogether, but if there were a few, we could kind of have one where we ask questions about one set of things, another where we ask, or not. I don't know if that makes
No,
sense.
I think my sort of thought process on this, and disagree with me if you think they should just be completely open, is that we tell them something about who is participating in this group. You know what I mean? Like, who we're targeting. We can always say focus groups are open to all, but this one is catered to families, seniors, whatever it is, you know, because we're gonna need to do a sign up because we have to limit the number of people that come. So I mean, we can say working adults, you know, and kind of let people, I don't know. But I feel like if it's just like, oh, here's a focus group at 2 on a Wednesday, and here's another one that you could sign up for that's at 6 PM on a Thursday, like, it might be nice if we can try and get somewhat similar people together.
Right.
So if the conversation goes to children's stuff, the people there without kids or that are empty nesters aren't gonna be like, I didn't actually care about this topic. But I don't know.
Right.
What are you guys thinking?
I know, you know, partly depends on how many we have.
Yeah,
You know, we want to try and not, you know, just keep it as, yeah, not do a ton of them, and maybe
Uh-huh.
then
how many do we want to do? How many can we commit to? Realistically?
How long do we think they're gonna be, like an hour?
Yeah, I think so.
There are, how many of us on the committee? 6?
There's us plus Bill and Alish.
And does Pete count?
He's technically not on the committee.
Okay, so 6. So if we each took one.
So we really need
6.
2 people to be there.
so
Like in any focus
that's
groups I've
3.
done, there's like a note taker and a
That
moderator.
makes sense.
Because it's really difficult to do both at the same time. But
So then that's 3. And then the staff one is a 4th one. Right? Or if there's a couple.
okay, so
people
we're
who
talking
don't-
about the
Is the
family one.
staff one the one that Upper Hudson is gonna do? for
Yes,
us?
so staff, we're putting it on the list.
Okay. Right.
And honestly, we have a large enough staff that they might need to do too. And I think that they would be open to that, but I don't really know how you all would want to separate out or if it's just like who's available on this day. I think it's going to be overwhelming if even a third of the staff want to go to it. Like that's a big focus group.
Mhm.
So we're talking, if we were doing these sort of like telling people to sign up, like, so we're a family one or children, you know, parents. We talked about community, like chamber.
Community stakeholders.
Yeah.
Or partners.
How, how are we gonna, is that one that we're gonna advertise separately or differently? We're gonna
Yeah, so it is a good question. I'm sure Pete, because he's on the chamber, has contacts for people over there, or at least the director that would say like, here's some good people to encourage to come. And I can look and see who they did, but like when the school board was announcing, or they were looking for their next superintendent, they invited like community leaders to it. And I got the invitation. But I can look and see who they considered a community leader.
Yeah, that would be good to know.
Yes.
Let me see if I can
And
find.
who do we, yeah, how do you?
And then and then are they really specific? I mean, it's kind of nice, like, let's say somebody really wants to be heard and they can't make the one for them. It is nice to be able to like, okay, you can go to this one, but we're telling you it's mainly gonna be for families. But then this seems to be more siloing, because the public can't come to the staff one. Probably a random person shouldn't come to the community leader partner one. Just like a person. So maybe it is more, but you wouldn't want to tell anyone you can't go to one of them, right?
And some, there might be overlap. They'd be like, well, I can't come to the community one, but I can go to the parent one because I am a parent, or vice versa, as opposed to being a parent.
Assuming GPDNY is our police department. So I see. As far as the group, she invited Peter Barber, Pete, Sandra from the chamber, McNally D at GPDNY.
Captain McNally.
Okay, thank you. You know who these people are. Clearly, I'm not a community leader, and me.
Did you?
Yeah,
Because you're the board president.
Because
Yeah.
you're the board president.
I wasn't at the time though.
It was this just a little bit ago.
Yeah, it was in May.
You were the president. You were.
Oh, I was.
You were.
Whew, sorry about that. So I mean, maybe, I didn't even think about the police. I guess we could, you know,
Right.
I know there's like 4 fire departments. I don't know how that all
Shakes out. Yeah.
But then if after that, do you think of someone like community caregivers or
Yeah, that's a great,
who's, you know, an organization who comes,
somebody at the, is there another department at the town? Senior services.
senior services from the town, somebody else?
I sort of wonder if that community piece, we can really mine Pete and Sandra to try and get us the correct contacts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. That's
Just
just,
to know, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and then if you invite the police but not the fire department, there'd be like starting a war.
I heard, I don't know, probably.
How many people, how big is each group? Like 20 people? 15 people?
So that's another thing that we need to decide. So for one thing, you guys would have the knowledge in what are your attendance rates? So like what is registration versus actual attendance on things that the library does?
80%.
Okay, that's good. How many people
People
do you?
signups versus actual.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Typically
Okay.
80%.
So what's a good number?
So normally you would want a focus group to be like, I don't know, maybe like 12 people.
Yeah,
But I mean, but in that case, then we may want to have 15 slots.
yeah, 15
Yeah.
gets you 12 if it's 8.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was asking, like what the attendance rates are.
And then
Because
if it is 15, if you do get 100%, it's still not,
it's not
Not
Going
overwhelming.
the other way,
Yeah.
yeah.
you're not,
Yeah.
it's not 25.
I mean, does that sound like a reasonable number?
Yeah, you don't want to go too big or else a lot of people don't really feel like they get to talk or
Yeah.
so I don't know exactly what's the right number, but
I mean, did
That's not-
any of those resources you looked at suggest, I mean, if anything, they're probably going to suggest smaller?
They did.
I went to a focus group. This is back way when the renovation was being planned and I participated in one. I can't remember how big it was though. I'm trying to think. Like at the time, this is going back, I don't know how many years.
Was it
now.
big?
No, it wasn't.
I mean,
I-
6 to
it-
8 is
it-
also
it
fine
could've-
too,
it
but
could've
if
been-
people don't show.
It could have been 10 or 12 people possibly. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think back. I mean, this is, I don't know how many years ago now that was. 7 years ago, I don't know, 8, maybe longer. I don't know.
Has to be right.
Something like that.
In your reading, did you see like 6 to 8?
6 to 8, yes.
They might be okay, because I'm seeing 3 different sources that say 6 to 10, 5 to 8, and 8 to 12. So asking for
So maybe we
15 and
should-
getting 12 might be okay.
Or we can do 12 and hope that we get 10, but be okay with there being 10 there.
How many groups are we talking?
That's what we still gotta
That's
figure
what I
out.
got. 'Cause
Well, and I was trying to look real quick. So these are people, nothing was promised to them, but if you remember correctly, and I did not include this with the survey, there was, people were asked if they were interested in potentially participating in a focus group. We had 73 that responded yes.
Okay.
So we will want to, when it open it up, I have their email addresses. We'll
Yeah.
send them like a thing saying like, here, you can sign up. We can coordinate it with Caroline or somebody else to make sure they're not super advanced notices to whatever goes in the newsletter or up on the website too, but.
Should we do one group that's just open to whoever, like
Yes,
whoever?
yeah, probably.
Which might, I would say maybe an extra group.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like the one that's going to be these community leaders or whatever, that's going to be, it's like its own, like, that's going to be kind of a private invite thing that's.
Yeah, I think
separate,
probably, yeah.
So that's kind of separate. And then we can have one, if we want to have one, that's a sign up one, but we say, this one is going to be, focused on, children and teens. So, we're looking for parents,
Mhm.
primarily, it doesn't have to, we don't have to police it, but just say
Yeah,
that's the.
parents,
intention.
caregivers, yeah.
Do we want to have one that's targeted specifically at seniors? Is that like, I don't know. Do we want to, it depends, again, how many are we going to have altogether, right? So we want to have at least, it seems like, we want to have, at least one, but probably more than one that's just open to anybody, just so we can get just anybody who wants, so we.
So if there's 6 of us and everybody is open to either moderating or taking notes, one or the other. So that means for every 3 focus groups we have, you are going to be at one of them. So it's an hour of your time, plus whatever you have to write up afterwards. So how much time can we invest ourselves into these?
Yeah, and part of it is also just like, where's the point of diminishing returns where
Yeah.
we've had enough of
We're
these
hearing
focus
that
groups,
theme
we're not
too.
gonna get any, and I'm not sure where that is. I mean, if we did 6 focus groups, that means each of us would be committing to do 2.
Mhm.
That would let us do a couple focused, a couple targeted ones, and then a couple general open ones. Is that excessive? You know, it's 6 focus.
I don't
groups.
think 6 is excessive, but,
That's in addition to the staff, 1 or 2.
and that,
Staff.
we're gonna get a report from
yes,
them
we won't have to-
that says, here's what this.
We won't have to conduct those, but,
Yeah.
you know.
We will have to do the analysis on them, you know,
Yeah.
compared to the other things, but
What do you have down now? You've got the community partner.
staff, which I'm setting, a family or parents one.
Yeah.
Potentially, we've talked about seniors. And then,
Community leaders.
well, is that different than the community? I'm sorry, like I should put leaders there.
Oh.
I was thinking about that in the same thing.
In which one?
In the community partners.
Oh,
leaders.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's,
so family and parents, that one, seniors.
So that's,
When looking at the 73 surveys, do you have demographics for those who said yes?
no, I don't think we do, right?
So I mean, I do, but I don't have it pulled out. I mean,
That's why I suggested an open one. I'm like, I know, we didn't know, when we asked that question, we didn't know who would fill this out, but I don't want this, what is it? The, what's the highest percentage of?
70 plus.
I don't want all of it to be that 30, like that, those people that are like, yes, I will comment, because then we're still missing like a voice of other groups.
Well, and that's why and I know it's such a broad one, that's why I suggested like working adults. Some of them are also gonna be in the family category, I mean, but I was trying,
like working adults.
I was trying to get that like 20 to
Working
50
adults,
range.
shared adults?
instead of seniors, I mean.
I guess it's kind, is it kind of the same
I
thing?
feel like it's kind of the same thing.
Though if like one of them had to go, I would say that one because we have,
So much response from them now.
but I know they're eager to share more,
They are eager to share more. Let me,
but their voice is heard.
So, and they can always sign up for the general ones. And it might be,
Yeah.
if we don't
that
do.
if we have general ones, those are gonna be dominated by seniors anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Because they'll,
Part of this is gonna be the timing. When are we doing these? Are these on evenings or weekends or are these during the workday? Because like that's gonna
Yeah.
impact who
If we did
comes.
2 general ones, we should do like a weeknight and like during the day.
Yeah.
Or something, yeah. Yeah,
Because
because then that would get the working adults if we did a weeknight
Mhm.
or a weekend,
and in the daytime, we'll get the
the seniors,
seniors and retired.
retired.
So are we taking seniors off this list? We're scratching them. Or are
Well-
they still getting a category and we're hoping they sign up for that one?
well, what do we have? We got parents and caregivers. we got the
Leaders.
Community,
Yeah.
whatever.
Leader, yes.
Then are we doing working adults?
Seniors, working adults. So I have 4 written down right now.
If we include seniors.
If we include seniors, and then 2 opens, an open day and an open night.
Seniors, working adults, open day, open night. Everybody does 2.
That, I mean, that seems.
Oh, staff is part of that
Staff
6, so that's 5. There's
No,
5.
staff-
I'm
totally-
taking staff out.
That was totally their own
So
thing.
there's 5 that need coverage.
So 6. So we're saying 6 focus groups because we're not even counting the staff because it's not really our
That would
energy
make
that's
the
going.
7th one.
Yeah, so staff is technically 7.
And there would be almost 2 focus groups for staff to try to cut.
Well, I mean, I think
Or
we're
they
gonna have
can.
to,
Up to Upper Hudson. right?
yeah, I feel like that's really gonna be up to them. They wanna do a big one or if they want to.
I think, yeah, I think that's reasonable. That's, I mean,
Okay.
get a lot of feedback from, I don't know.
I think we're gonna get feedback, so I'm gonna ask this question because we have not publicly made a response to this, but when inevitably in some or all of these groups, the cafe comes up, are we just listening and absorbing, or are we saying anything? Are we just gonna allow the conversation to pivot that direction?
Well, you know, I think,
Because they're gonna say like, I liked that idea, I want that back, and you're gonna be like, tell me more about that. And then maybe they'll say something where you're like, what you're saying is this, but actually what you want from the library is this. And I know that now because you explained yourself and you said more. You want, like, what if they are like, I love sitting in there, and you're like, oh, you don't care about the coffee, you want
Yeah.
more places to sit, things like
Okay.
that. That's my 2 cents, right?
And that was part of that focus group, was that summarizing, so when someone says something, bring it in.
Or maybe they all say the coffee and the bagels, and then you're like, now I know something about that too, they want snacks. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so,
my opinion.
we need to figure out the questions. Did anyone see, I feel like I read it, but I don't remember, Mary, I think, had something in there too, like what the number of questions is for like an hour? Does anybody with that? I may have read that in like the stuff that Tim first.
Just in this list for story times.
Okay, so this is from a totally different thing that I don't know if you guys have, but it was from an outline from Tim Burke gave me on how they used to do the strategic planning training, which I Mike went to when it was here.
Yeah.
He said 6 to 8 open-ended questions for a 60-minute session. Be sure to feed them and thank them, so we will need to have briefs.
That's right.
And I think we can see if there's like a little cute tchotchke that you guys have in the back with GPL on it or something. I don't know if there's any.
The
cow.
window
Is-
slings, there's little squeezy cows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you know what I mean, so they can get a little thank you gift.
The stress cows would be fun.
I need the silences.
So we're looking for 6 to 8 questions.
Right.
So can we take just a couple of minutes to like look through you guys' lists and
Yep.
see
Yeah.
if there's any that jumped out as.
Can I see this?
Did I not do that? And I have the list of the 8 suggested questions from Upper Hudson too, so.
Okay. I liked the question that I think it was the one you were reading.
Read off
earlier.
this list.
The one about in all the time you've come to the library,
yeah.
what's your most memorable or your.
Yeah,
I can't
Think
remember.
back to all of the years you've used the library and tell us your fondest memory.
Yeah.
That could almost be an introduction question.
It could be-
So
It's kind of an icebreaker.
people can say, hey, I'm Mike, and my fondest memory was, whatever it is.
I don't know if this is a bad idea or not, I don't know, but does it make any sense to ask a question that's something like, thinking of all the other libraries you've used in your life, whether that's schools or college or other towns or whatever, is there anything you liked about that library that you don't see here, or something that you liked better about, or something like that? Just,
Yeah,
I don't know if comparisons are not a good.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if that's good or bad.
If it's meshing up the two things and it's like, tell us about your best memory in a library, and it could be like your hometown library, your college library, this library. would that tell us, would that be a good intro? Tell us something that's important or like a positive experience that you had?
I don't mind that at all because it will give us an idea. I mean, two, it gives us a little bit of information. If everyone tells their story about this library, that's a positive thing. If everyone tells us their story about another library, that also says something. Or do you think it's gonna skew? Because like
Well,
everybody's like,
I-
my childhood library.
I think it could end up getting, like, I think if the first couple people start talking about this library and things here, then it's gonna pull everybody down that path of just
Okay.
about this, you know,
Yeah,
maybe, I don't know though. I could see it kind of just being path dependent, depending on what the, you know. I'm not sure that comparing it or asking people about other libraries is good or not. I could see it potentially being like, it kind of can spark people's, you know, minds to think about, you know, other and be like, oh yeah, I used to do this or that when I lived in this town, or, oh, I remember in college, I always used to go to the library and whatever.
yeah.
Maybe that's helpful, but maybe it's, you know, I don't know if that's, I don't know if there's better ways to.
Okay.
Get that, I'm not
You
sure.
have a positive mindset
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the library in general, because
So-
you're thinking about a
Yeah.
big thing.
I can quickly read these. I'm sorry, I don't have a printed copy. This is what came from Upper Hudson. They're all relatively short. Why do you live in this community? What do you consider this community's most important assets and why are they important to you? How do you think this community is changing? What do you think this community needs going forward? So the first four are all about community before they even get to library. What do you think is great about this library? What do you think is not so great about this library? What can the library do to better serve the community? And is there anything else you'd like to share or suggestions you might have? So really honestly, their questions about the library are very similar to what we asked in the survey.
Yeah.
But I do like starting with the community piece.
Yeah, I just don't know that it, like, 4 out of 8 questions, that seems a little overkill on that piece. I think you want to get to the library a little faster.
Yeah.
I might start with, you know, a question about the community of, you know, or about, you know, so, or maybe one or two questions about the community, but, you know, then I think you want to move people into thinking about the library. Maybe that's a good way of kind of starting it out, so they're kind of thinking more big picture, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You know, to
I'd say at
give
least a couple.
give
so
them a
they're thinking-
question or two at the beginning, thinking big picture, so, you know.
And then narrow it.
Yeah,
But I do
you know,
think like
'cause
the
I think-
half and half split is maybe.
You know, because part of, you know, I guess getting people to think more broadly is, you know, you want to think about things that are not maybe, you know, what people traditionally think about as, you know, library services or libraries or things the library could do or could be providing. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know how many years ago it was, but before the library of things, you know, you wouldn't have ever thought of going to the library to take out a, you know, folding table or a, you know, a baking, you know, sheet or something or whatever. But, you know, you know, it's something, you know, that we, you know, we lend things. It's, you know, broader than just books or whatever. So maybe asking a bigger question about the community in general, I don't know which of those questions, but something about, you know, what does the community need, or what is the, you know, some big questions like that. And then focusing on the library, and that's already got their mindset thinking a little more broadly before we pull it into the library more specifically. I don't know.
And if you go 60 minutes, 6 questions, 10 minutes per question roughly with 12 people.
I think it's better to have like to say, have us have 8, just in case it's a dead room. But so like maybe those final 2 should be questions that would be great to get that information, but not actually our most important questions.
Yeah.
You know, does that make
That
sense?
makes sense.
Just God help us if we have dead rooms on this, like, you know, hopefully we won't, but if you sign up to come to this thing, you better be willing to talk.
Yeah.
There will be some really.
I think that might be a nice compromise though, with like a couple of community
Yeah.
minded questions and then the rest. I like the community ones because it gets, if somebody comes in with an agenda, like I'm gonna let them know that I think this, it's like, no, actually, we want you to first think about like, we're a piece of the puzzle of like this
Yeah.
town that you live in. And not like you need more James Patterson specifically. Like you can say that later, but. like,
Yeah, I mean, I
Let's
kind
get
of
you
like the
thinking
generic,
globally.
why do you live in this community?
You know.
Okay, the
Second one.
other one was, what do you consider this community's most important assets? How do you think this community is changing? And what do you think this community needs going forward? I like the changing one too. I mean,
That's tough.
I feel like it's funny because I feel like I know how I can answer what do you think this community needs going forward? So I'm like, a downtown, that's what we need. But like,
If we can help with that now.
or other community questions. Did either of you have anything about the community? Well, you have what kind of
I had-
spaces are missing or lacking from our community?
Yeah.
Michelle, did you have?
I did not. I
That's-
focused
that's
on
a-
our areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody's like, I need a place to go for insert thing here. And they might not even think that we would serve that purpose,
Right, but
but maybe we can't, maybe we can.
maybe they don't know, because if you look at this, it seems like there's a communication, they don't know everything. But I'd like to go and learn how to knit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a place where I can tinker in 3D
It's,
print.
maybe,
So-
yeah.
Oh,
no, go ahead.
no. I was just, it's almost 6:30 and so I'm very realistic about our time. So maybe what I can agree to do, I've got time on the train. I can lump some of this in. If you find any other or think of any other potential survey questions, email them to me. I'm gonna put this into like the suggestions from these, that, anything else we find. And we can have a document where we're sort of like, well, we can squash this out. There's like 3 questions are exactly the same and we can kind of see what rises up for us. I like your community question about what's missing, Michelle, I really like what is the feeling you get when you arrive at the library?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't matter. You're the one that typed it up and gave it to us.
But to get like a real feel.
Yeah. I'm curious about this. I'm curious about how to phrase this, but I would like to know about the medium. And I wonder if we can come up with a clever and open way, to ask that, so meaning
What was the question?
she has this under general collection, youth
Oh.
collection, what medium is important to you? So I'm thinking at this point in my life, because I don't ever sit down, I consume 90% of my stuff as audiobooks. And, what are
You
you?
and everybody
digital.
else.
No,
Statistically.
Yeah.
I didn't put digital there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
ebooks.
that digital.
Downloadable audio.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
So, I know that we can get the stats can pull that, but I also am curious about how they sort of
Perception.
respond to that. Yeah. So I don't know, but, okay, let's think on this.
Mhm.
So realistically, we don't have questions nailed down. We don't have dates nailed down. Do we think as staff members here, could we use this room? Because I know that it's not booked by,
You typically, we could use.
or if you want a different. I think it would also work in Westbrook. I feel like Normanville's too big.
Actually, it's not as big as you think. We
Is
have
it
nice cozy chairs.
Skill. Sorry,
Skill.
I was thinking, what's the Helderberg?
But
Oh, no, it's,
that
yeah.
brings feelings of cafe.
When I
But
did
it's got nice.
focus group for the renovation, it was in the
Oh, it was?
yeah, but it wasn't that many people. It was,
Yeah.
they had, I don't remember what the seating, because
So we definitely want a circle shape.
yeah. But that was the room they used at the time for that. I don't, again, I don't remember how.
In this room, would you want a circle without the tables? Because then it becomes an oval, because this room's very long, so. Westbrook- or the table's okay, is that, is just like this okay? In here, if it was in here.
I think, I actually prefer the table, but that's just me.
I like a table,
Okay.
and this room would work.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you want the tables gone and you want everyone facing each other, this is probably the best room.
But you would.
But it's,
yeah.
yeah,
This
10 people
yeah,
around
big
this
enough.
room, yes.
Yeah. 10 or 12 people.
Yeah.
Some snacks, some fun things. Thank you for coming.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was just thinking this space is like easier to book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
we're not competing with everything else like for it. So, okay, so realistically, at our next meeting then, what we're gonna have is we're gonna figure out what our questions are and we're gonna find the times for these groups.
Okay.
And then we'll list them. Go.
All right.
Is our next one the 2nd of September, right after Labor Day?
Let me make sure I have the room.
I guess. I mean, I don't have any problem with that. Nobody's taking like an extended, I got a meeting at 10 a.m. in the morning, so it's not like a lot here.
I like that combination question.
The what one?
The one about your fondest memory of the library as well.
Hang on, I do like that.
I do have this room booked for that.
For the second? Okay, perfect. Well, we're adjourning. Thanks. I know it doesn't seem like we got